Are some Republican members of the United States Senate totally screwing over veterans? Yes. My name is Elad Gross, and this is the Missouri Comment. Burn pits. Now, I don't mean the place where apparently several members of Congress came from. I mean the flaming dumps the United States military stood up on bases that plenty of our troops were exposed to horrifying airborne cancer-causing chemicals. Thousands of American troops were exposed to hundreds of different types of chemicals, coming from burning feces, plastic, vehicle parts, batteries, paint, fuel, you name it, causing all sorts of substantial medical injuries, many of which didn't show up for years.
This was the air they had to breathe, smoke from massive burn pits next to their bases. What did it smell like?
Kind of like when you burn plastic. You get that acrid smell. Depending on how strong the winds are, the smoke could be pretty strong. So you just constantly either saw the smoke or smelt it pretty much every day, all day.
All day, all night, all day, all night.
Yes.
You're breathing that stuff in.
Yes.
And it's not like we didn't know this would happen. Multiple reports found dangerous levels of pollutants in the air at our military bases early on and indicated a serious risk to the health of our troops. But the pits kept burning. Most Americans agree that when we send our soldiers into danger, we should take care of them. Unfortunately, Congress is not most Americans. And we are all very aware that far too often in the United States, when you have to deal with a serious long-term medical issue, none of these massive bureaucracies really wants to pay for our care.
The Department of Veterans Affairs made her jump through hoops to prove a direct connection between his exposure and his cancer before granting benefits.
I talked to that 1-800-VA number to see where our claim is. They said, oh, well, we're finally sending it over so that you can get scheduled for his evaluation. And I said, are we going to do it before he dies? And I said it just like that and not yell. And I was told to calm down. They wanted me to drive him to the VA for an in-person exam, which he wasn't like this, but I would not have been able to put him in a car. So I had to file an appeal to have a in-home exam done.
After years and years of soldiers and their families fighting for the health care and the benefits that the vast majority of us want them to have, it looked like Congress was finally going to do the right thing. On June 16th, the United States Senate voted 84-14 to pass the Honoring Our Promise to Address Comprehensive Toxics Act of 2022, also known as the PACT Act. The bill would expand health care and other benefits to many families, not just for those soldiers exposed to burn pits, but also to Agent Orange and other toxins. But there was an issue with the bill. The Senate amended the bill a few times, including language about revenue. And all of you constitutional scholars out there are immediately saying, whoa, buddy, wrong chamber. I mean, it's in the first article of the Constitution. Come on. Revenue bills have to be originated in the House, not the Senate. So they got that problem fixed. They sent the bill to be originated back in the House before it came to the Senate. The new bill was the exact same, minus 32 words about a very specific tax situation. Seriously, you can put both the old bill and the new bill into a fancy compare system. I did. And the only changes, other than the bill number, are these 32 words that no one is debating at all. You don't have to take my word for it. Senator Pat Toomey, the Republican leading the charge against the PACT Act, talks about his objection to the bill on his YouTube channel, as he did on many other channels and on the Senate floor. You can watch his 11-minute rant, and you will never hear anything about these 32 words being deleted because no one objects to that. And despite the bill being the same, the vote in the Senate went from 84 to 14 to 55 to 42, with Republicans switching their yes votes to no. 60 votes are needed to advance the bill, so now it's stuck. All of the complaints are about Section 805, which authorizes the funding of the Cost of War Toxic Exposures Fund so our troops can receive care. Senator Toomey was always a no vote on this bill. He complained about the same thing when this got 84 votes last time, so either he's become a heck of a public speaker in the last month, or the flip-floppers are just holding dying veterans hostage to negotiate on other bills. And if you think it's the former, make sure to check out that 11-minute video I mentioned before. It's on YouTube. Senator Toomey and the flip-floppers complain that funding health care for our troops is a budget gimmick. That's what they call it. It all comes down to how the money is allocated. Senator Toomey wants the money to be classified as discretionary spending. That way, the funding is subject to a cap. It's subject to year-to-year appropriations, so that can change, and potentially even a time limit before it totally disappears. For example, Senator Toomey has offered an amendment that only funds this program for 10 years. Although he's telling everyone with the microphone that he is in no way trying to change the substance of the bill, his own amendment says very differently. You can take a look yourself. Senator Toomey's proposal would effectively require the VA to ration care for our troops.
The fund is in the bill so that we can ensure, as you suggested, that all the spending for this program is for the veterans exposed to these toxins. And so he says it won't impact our programming. In good conscience, I don't see that to be the case. In fact, he puts a year-on-year cap on the what we spend, and then at the end of 10 years, the fund goes away under his amendment. So the impact of that would be if his estimations are wrong about what we'll spend in any given year, that means that we may have to ration care for veterans.
Yeah.
One reason why Senator Toomey wants the bill to make the spending discretionary, to limit benefits that veterans may be able to get. Instead, the bill, as it is written today, and as it was written when it received 84 votes, makes the spending mandatory, like Social Security and Medicare and other similar benefit programs. It accounts for veterans exposed to burn pits who develop cancer or see their diseases progress years from now. By making the spending mandatory, the funding is protected, and the United States is guaranteeing to provide benefits to every soldier and every family that needs it. The other reason Senator Toomey wants the money to be less protected, to be discretionary instead of mandatory, is that Senator Toomey really doesn't trust his colleagues. There's a maximum amount that Congress is allowed to spend in the discretionary budget overall. If the money for our troops' health care is switched to being discretionary, it will be subject to this maximum cap too, and it will prevent Congress from funding other programs. Essentially, this program will have to go in, and something else will have to come out. Essentially, Senator Toomey only wants to fund veterans' care if we defund something else. Ideally, something else that Democrats want, as he has said publicly many times. So veterans will just have to wait until he's done bashing Democrats and hopefully not die before then. And that's what's happening. Veterans are dying right now. Some are committing suicide because they don't want to put their families through the huge cost of caring for them without this bill passing. And Senator Toomey and the flip-floppers have no problem playing politics while they die. Sergeant First Class Heath Robinson, the man whose name actually appears on the PACT Act, was born on the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. He joined the Ohio Army National Guard in 2003 and served in both Kosovo and Iraq. He was the back-to-back Ohio Army National Guard Non-Commissioned Officer of the Year in 2012 and 2013, where he excelled in physical fitness. He was considering Ranger School when he started feeling chronically fatigued and started having frequent nosebleeds. In 2017, Heath was diagnosed with an extremely rare lung cancer. He was given 6 weeks to live. Heath and his family turned those 6 weeks into 3 years. Just months before he passed, Heath did this interview.
Some people in the burn pits advocacy world contend that the military, the DOD and the VA, are waiting for people like you to die.
Yeah,
do you talk about that a little bit?
And that upsets me. And I do think that's what they're doing. They're pretty much trying to postpone as long as they can. Look.
You think they're doing what?
They're pushing off the buck and passing it and trying to postpone it as long as they possibly can until and hope it goes away.
So they're waiting for you to die.
Yeah. And it's like there are many of us that are passing away. Like, I don't know how much longer I have personally. My cancer has unfortunately taken a turn for the worse. And I don't know how much longer I have.
Today, the bill named for Heath is sitting in limbo because 25 Republican members of the Senate suddenly changed their mind from their vote just last month. These senators want to put caps on how much money we'll spend caring for folks like Heath. They're going to make the process harder. They're going to keep our soldiers moving through hoops so that maybe we'll save a few bucks when some give up or some die trying. These senators are willing to spend billions of dollars buying military equipment, $52.4 billion on aircraft systems, $20.3 billion on missiles and munitions, $16.7 billion on space. But when it comes to taking care of our troops, well, that budget item just has to wait. We sent them to war. We put them in harm's way. Experts wrote reports. Leaders ignored them. The only responsible check we could possibly give our injured soldiers and their families is a blank one. And if we don't want to write another and another, and if we don't want to leave more children to grow up without their loving parents, maybe, just maybe, we'll start electing people who actually do their jobs. Here's the list of every senator blocking the PACT Act. Call yours today. I'm Elad Gross, and that was the Missouri Comment.